Positive psychology is the study of what's best about human beings. And often, most psychological disciplines, prior to positive psychology being named a field in 1998 by Marty Seligman, who's really the founding psychologist of positive psychology, we've studied what's wrong with people. And then we've studied how to prevent those things from happening. Most psychology, up to when positive psychology was founded on this idea of how do we prevent a disease. It's called a disease model of functioning. Versus how do we understand what creates flourishing? What are the best aspects of the human being? And how do we develop those from a proactive instead of reactive, preventative standpoint? The way I think about it is, if you were to learn golf, would you spend all your time studying someone who stinks at golf and try to figure out how not to stink at golf? Or would you spend your time focusing on somebody who is flourishing in golf and is an expert in golf and learn how to do those things? Yet, the way we've treated human beings and the way we've studied psychology for so many years is we've studied disease. And how do we make sure people don't get diseased? And what we leave out of that is human possibility. So something that's really important about how positive psychology is applied in the workplace is, especially for leaders or for anybody who has responsibility or influence over anybody, is that you're partially responsible for the environment you create. So does your environment create the opportunity for people to use what's best about them? Does your environment make it possible for people to use their strengths, to experience meaningfulness, to experience positive emotions? The feeling of mattering is so fundamental. When you were born as a human being, the first thing that you did was you actually tilted your head upward and grasped for someone to value you. You sought to matter to someone else for your survival before you sought to eat food. And that never goes away, right? So that survival instinct to matter, to have a caring relationship. I think people are not experiencing mattering in places like their workplaces, their classrooms, their families even, their communities. And so if a political candidate or a subreddit thread offers you that false feeling of significance, humans are going to go there. And then what happens is we divide. And I think more than ever, people are competing for the significance they're not getting in their everyday lives. A key way to restore that, I think, is to make sure everybody feels noticed, affirmed, and needed in all aspects of life: school, sports teams, family life, workplaces where people spend a third of their waking life. I think the crux of human flourishing is positive meaning. And positive meaning, experiencing my life and my work as positive, purposeful, and significant, is critical. And what comes before experiencing meaningfulness is experiencing mattering. So make sure people feel noticed, affirmed, and needed around you. I think one of the most powerful 5 words you could use right now is "if it wasn't for you." So go tell someone on your team, in your classroom, in your sports team, in your family, in the community, just, hey, if it wasn't for you, this wouldn't be possible. Because when people experience meaninglessness, they experience incoherence in life. Meaning is coherence, when things make sense. And when people experience things not making sense, they go try to make it make sense. And usually that results in either acts of withdrawal, isolating, leaving, quiet quitting, quote unquote, is just an act of withdrawal. It's inevitable. Quiet quitting, for example, was an inevitable response to anti-mattering. It's a withdrawal response. Or they act out in desperation. Whether that's gossiping, complaining, blaming, or whether that's acts of violence. Hey, look at me, I do matter. Feelings of invisibility either result in acts of desperation or acts of withdrawal. So I think one of the most important things we can do in our organizations, in our society, in our families, to make sure everyone around us feels noticed, affirmed, and needed. Say "if it wasn't for you" to somebody today. That can help at least prompt their mind to remember that they have significance, that there's positive meaning in their life, which is the crux of everything else.